lot of times they'll have traveling notaries that they have access to. So if you're a traveling notary, you can make up to $250 per signing, sometimes more if you're traveling in ways to get to the people. So let's say I'm a traveling notary and I need to sign somebody up tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Because a lot of people work, right? And a lot of other companies, if you can't sign between 9 and 5, they're not going to sign you up. So what you do is, they send me the loan documents on my computer, I print them out, I show up at your house or your office or wherever, Starbucks, at whatever time, and we commence to sign. Now some are fairly quick, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Some are a lot longer if it's a more complicated loan. The client is not supposed to ask the notary any questions about, is this a good interest rate? And the notary shouldn't answer, okay? If they do, it causes problems. Like if you're cruising along and they're going to be really good friends and they're signing up the loan documents and they go, hey, is this a good interest rate? Oh, God, I did one a couple weeks ago. It was like 0.5% lower than this. Well, guess who's going to get a phone call that night or first thing in the morning? The notary said you overcharged me. What? Where did that come from? So their job technically is just to notarize the signature. If there's any questions on the loan documents, they're supposed to call me or call somebody, although that's kind of hard to do at 8 o'clock at night. But we always know there's going to be a after-hours notary sign that we're available, okay? I was out trying to play golf on Saturday morning out in the desert, but it was raining. That didn't work out real well. But I knew these people were signing docs at 9 o'clock on Saturday, so I had my cell phone on and ready to answer any questions. So the notaries have to be careful with what they're doing.
So in other words, you're saying that if they have a doubt on whatever or inquiry on interest rates for the notary, the notary should refer them over to you?
The notary, there are good notaries and bad notaries. And sometimes what happens is, I've seen situations before where the notary comes in and here are the documents on the table, and the borrower starts asking questions, right? Well, the notary doesn't want to sit there, and attorneys and engineers are the worst. The notary doesn't want to sit there while the borrower goes through the loan document for 4 hours, okay? Because their time is money, right? So a lot of times they'll hand you the documents and say, you go through them, if you have any questions, you call your lender.
Right.
I don't want to answer your questions. That kind of leads a guy to believe that maybe there's a problem with it, right? A good notary will sit down and as they're going through, what's this, what's that, what's this APR? That's just the cost of credit over the term. Your note rate is, you saw your note rate, it's what you were expecting, it's all good, no problem. What's this one? Well, that's a signature affidavit. They just want to make sure that your signing is consistent or whatever. They can talk like that and make explanations. But if they get into, you're being charged too much, most people don't pay any points, this seems like a high interest rate, whatever, then that gets to be a problem.
Right. In other words, a notary's job is just to have them, testify that they're signing and that's it. They're not answering any questions at all.
Well, they're not supposed to, but again, a good notary will explain the little stuff that maybe I don't need to be called on. You know what I'm saying? If it's big stuff, like I thought I was getting 4.5 and the rate's 4 3/4, that's a big thing. And I need to be called.
Yeah, that you need to talk to your lender.
Right, exactly. And the lender should go over that stuff before the doctor ever signs. That's what the closing disclosure is for.
Right.
So you know what you're going to see when you get your loan documents.
In other words, you can say, well, you probably got through the closing disclosure, right?
Right. What I do is before it gets to the closing disclosure, I give a copy of the estimate settlement statement from escrow so that they know how much money they got to come in with. I checked it with my worksheets. And if there's going to be any squabble, I want it done today instead of when they're signing loan documents. I want it done now. Why are these numbers different? It doesn't happen very often, but it does. But I want them to know that. You have a question back there? Question?
So a notary he should know most of the stuff that he's notarizing, right?
Yes.
He can't comment really and give you advice.
Well, he shouldn't.
Yeah, he shouldn't, because then there'll be
Can be issues.
issues. Yes.
See, and what happens sometimes is people will say, well, Betty in my office is a notary. I'll have her notarize my documents. Well, that's okay. Does Betty ever notarize instead of loan documents? Well, she's had a notary for 5 years and she's used it 3 times. That's not good. Because inevitably they'll come back with, she hasn't used her stamp in 5 years either. The stamp's all blurry and she stamped the thing like 5 times and they won't accept it. Or it's out of date. Or she doesn't have signed in the right places. You know what I'm saying? or won't have them sign enough times, or whatever it is. But you should have a brief understanding of how the loan documents work. So let's say that you're a notary, or that you just got your notary license. And you said, I want to be able to sign loan documents up because you can make some pretty good money. I would tell you to go sit with a notary and watch them sign up loan documents a couple times, just so they know what's going on, okay? Now, interesting enough, during the bad years, people would get loans that they didn't know they were getting. Remember, I told you they would think they're getting a 30-year fixed rate loan, and in fact, they were getting an arm of some sort, where the guys would actually forge a lot of the documents that the people were supposed to sign, all right? So you hear horror stories, and back in the day, they would say, oh, and we have a notary for your convenience, they'll come to your house at 8 o'clock at night, okay? Well, they're designed to come to your house at 8 o'clock at night, they're gonna bring a baseball bat. And their job is to pound you into that loan, okay? And you do not ask questions. Or if you did, stories like a guy would pull up and be at your house at 8 o'clock at night, and you start to sign, and his phone would go off, or you get a text, right? What's it? Oh, we got married over the weekend. That's my wife. You know, I'm supposed to, I need to be home, we're leaving on our honeymoon tomorrow. Okay, sign something, say, oh, wait, oh, there she is again. Hey, let me tell her I'll be right with her. Have we heard this stuff a little bit? Right? The idea being you rush through this thing. I've seen it before where a lady would show up with 2 kids in the car. You know, and she signed loan documents, so I get to, my kids are out there. What are your kids out there for? Husband had to work, can't get buddies back. Can we sign these really quick? Can you, any questions? Just call your loan officer. Sign. And then they fund the thing, you know, before people would have a chance to even ask any questions. Boom. Now you're stuck with this loan. So a lot of those people lost their notary licenses, and I'm not saying it still goes on now, but I know in our world, a good notary can make the situation go a lot smoother. You know, as long as they call your lender, and then you get 15 calls because there's 50 pages to sign. You know what I'm saying?
On the arms, is it hard to include the conversion option?
Ooh, I'm not even sure they have those anymore. It used to be, what he's talking about is when you did an adjustable loan, if you had an ARM, you had the option to convert it to a fixed rate at some point during the term. So let's say you got a 7-year ARM and it starts adjusting, and you're in year 5, you can say, you can call your lender and say, hey, what will it cost for me to convert it to a fixed rate? And there's usually a fee involved, okay? But I don't even know I don't think they have those anymore. I think those are gone. It was funny. That sounded like a good selling technique. Oh, you convert it to a fixed rate loan. In reality, let's say in 3 years you want to convert it, right, to a fixed rate. Let's say the going rate was 4.5%. You can convert it 5.25 or 5.5. So it never was a good idea. You know what I'm saying? They didn't want you to convert it, but it sounded good when you were talking to people and selling the loan. So conversion option. Okay, so once the loan documents are signed, that's usually a good thing. Most lenders now will let you scan those documents back to the department, to the funding department. Reason they do that is because they want to start working on assigning a funder to it and start checking out to make sure it's all signed correctly. All right. There are a couple of lenders that will do what's called table funding, and that means that as soon as you're signing your loan documents and the escrow's got the money, they can fund the loan. And you'd say, well, that sounds like a good idea. Why would we want to scan the documents back and then overnight the other documents back, and it's another 1 or 2 day delay? What you'll realize is the companies that do that, all that stuff on the back end is done before the documents get issued, so there's a delay anyway. So it sounds really good to have table funding, but in reality it delays it on the front end as opposed to the back end. So now when the documents are signed, like these people signed on Saturday, okay, the loan officer scanned them back to the lender today. But they didn't, remember, because their computer crashed, right? So then they email, or not email, they FedEx or overnight the actual hard copy docs back to the lender, because they have to have the hard copies back, okay? And then the escrow company sends the deed off to record with the title company. So all kinds of things happen very quickly, okay? And again, people, it all gets down to the end, people go, well, fund it. We're trying. Well, go faster. You know, like, again, they think you're someone sitting there at a desk waiting for your set of loan documents to come out. And it always happens, these things it's always at 1 o'clock in the afternoon when you get the call, okay, we funded the loan. Thank God. So, it's always the last minute kerfuffle. Okay, so the loan documents get signed, then it goes to the funding department. After signing and returning the documents are assigned to a funder. Funder verifies or checks in the loan documents. That sounds pretty easy, but you gotta make sure you signed and dated everything correctly. Verifies signatures, dates, addresses, and vesting, okay? We just had a guy, I hadn't seen this in a long time. We had a guy on a very easy transaction, not too long ago. The wife's name was, Yulia Reznikova Eisenberg, how's that for me? So everything that she signed with me was Y. Reznikova Eisenberg. No problem, right? Well, when they signed the loan documents, and they did it on an evening one time, she signed her loan documents. Hyphen Eisenberg. Okay? So that's obviously different, right? So then her husband, his name was Kevin Eisenberg. So all my documents were like this. Okay? And then we signed his loan documents. So the letter came back and they said, you know, it looks like I'm forging stuff, right? Why would somebody do that? So when we got when the loan documents back, they said, okay, we need to have a bunch of the initial documents, disclosures re-signed, okay? And we want to re-sign the way they signed their loan documents. Okay. I hadn't seen that in a long time. So again, it just didn't look right to them. And if they were to sell that loan, someone came back and said, well, somebody forged these things, okay? And there is some of that goes on in our business. I hate to say that, but a lot of times you'll hear from real estate agents and escrow people where they'll say, okay, a funding condition is I need this amendment signed. They change their vesting at the last minute. Okay, we need to have the vesting amendment signed. And the escrow officer will say, oh yeah, the people were just here, they signed it. No, they didn't. The escrow officer went to the back window and signed the people's names. Happens laughing. It happens a lot, okay? So you never want to encourage that kind of activity, okay? If you're a real estate agent, a lot of times you have to have a very complete package to turn into your company to get paid. And if the ops manager is on her game and says, you missed this, and this, you got two choices. You can go out and try to track the borrower down now, who's now in the house, probably doesn't want to talk to you anymore. Or you can somehow get the document signed. So, unfortunately, don't get used to doing that. It used to be in the old days, everybody had a light box that you could use. Okay, so the funder verifies everything. Make sure all prior to funding conditions are met. File sometimes must go back to the underwriter, especially if there's a change in something, if the money came from somewhere that they didn't know about or something else. And again, you would think that, okay, well, there's a problem here, they have to verify the money. Well, it should take the underwriter, what, 30 seconds to sign that off? Well, no, the underwriter may be in a different location, okay? Maybe they're out to lunch, maybe they're at their kid's kindergarten graduation. It doesn't always work that fast. So a lot of times there are delays at the end that people don't understand. Make sure the audit is signed off, verbally verifies the employment. Almost always in these documents of some kind, there's always something that needs to be re-signed or signed differently or dated differently. If all is okay, the loan is funded, which means they push the button and the money flies all over the country. It used to be they had to write an actual check and get it to the title company. Now it's obviously done by wire. They can do that until about 1/1/30, sometimes a little bit longer, because after that the Federal Reserve wiring system is shut down and won't get to where it's supposed to go. So funding happens up until about 1/1/30. After that, if someone tells you the loan funded at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, probably didn't. That means it's pre-wired, which means they missed the cutoff time for today. It's not going to fund today, but they've set it up. They've already got the button pushed for tomorrow morning. Okay, so it'll actually fund tomorrow morning. Now, why that's a problem is because in LA and Riverside, San Bernardino County, in most cases, if you fund today, you can't record till tomorrow. In Orange County, you can fund and record the same day. Now, sometimes in LA and Riverside, San Bernardino County, you can fund and record the same day, but you have to send somebody, you have to send the borrower and somebody from the title company down to the recorder's office to authorize the funding or the recording. It's a lot more complicated. So be careful what you tell people. If you tell your real estate agent that it funded today when you know it didn't, and then tomorrow they go, the escrow officer said it didn't fund until this morning and can't really record until tomorrow. You told me it funded yesterday. Now all of a sudden you're tap dancing around. So it's better to tell them the truth. Loan funding does not mean closing, all right? Your deal is not closed until it records. And I've seen situations where they pull the money back, okay? In other words, they fund the loan and then they've actually pulled the money back and not record it. Doesn't happen often, but it does happen. So once recording has taken place, the loan is closed, monies are wired from the lender, monies go all over the place depending on the instructions. So they go to the title company, they pay off existing loans, sometimes they go to other escrows to fund new loans, so the money's all over the place. They also pay the realtors. There are payments to third parties like termite companies. Used to be appraisers, but they don't do that now. They're paid up front with their credit card. The insurance companies get paid, lenders get paid, all kinds of people get paid. And that's, we call that the cha-ching day, which is always really nice. Okay, so that's 10 and 11. And has everybody got a copy of the internet assignment? Okay, some people came in last. All right, that's not due till the 29th. So I want to make sure you have it. Next week, we're going to go over chapter 12, which is secondary marketing and servicing, and we're going to start the midterm review. And remember, the midterm, it's only like 220 questions. Give you all a hard time. Okay. The midterm is a whopping 32 questions. Okay, so it goes really quick. And most of them are from quizzes that we've had. There is, don't worry about this now, I'll talk about it next week. There's a little math on the thing, so you have to dust off your calculators, make sure you know how to use them again. And it's open book. You can have your old quizzes with you. You can do whatever you need to do. Most of the questions will be the same or similar to what we had before. And then I'll do the quiz 3, chapter 7 through 9. Stuff we just went over last week. Any questions? Yeah, we got it. You show me. Remember, you show me that you voted. I'll give you maybe 20 extra points.
No, that's the
10 more. I'll give you 20.
chapter 79.
Huh?
It was every day, every.
Well, yeah, this is the gentleman's thing, so if you pull a sticker off of somebody that voted, stick it on your chest, I'm not gonna know. What did you vote
The
last?
midterm is in 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
All right, you tell me you did it,
3 weeks.
I'll believe it. But like I said before, use your brains on this stuff. Go out, research this stuff, check out the candidates, check out check out the initiatives. Usually the League of Women Voters has a pretty good website on being impartial to stuff. Find some other ones that you can actually read the initiatives and kind of figure it out. So we have this little our little thing in Braille, right? We have this our little election in Braille. And one of the guys on there is talk about political people I don't want. One of the guys is this another one?
Again.
I can't walk with 2 bubble guns. So one of the guys running for city council, he's been on there the last 4 years, and in Brea we have a dump, okay? And the dump is very lucrative to the city of Brea because of the money that it brings in from the county. And it's owned by the county, not by us. So We have a lot of traffic that comes off the 57 freeway and goes down Imperial, and then goes up the street called Valencia to the dump. And it's, you know, causes a lot of problems to the street, a lot of traffic problems. So this one council guy says he's going to build a road, if he gets elected again, he's gonna build a road from Tonner Canyon, which is a off-ramp on the 57 freeway, straight across the hills to the dump. Which is a good idea, but he can't do that. We don't own that land, the City of Industry owns it. And it's also the hills from everyone and stuff. So my point being is that some people will say things that they can't do, so be aware. I'm gonna pass that roll sheet around to you guys. Make sure you sign it one way or another before you leave.